Hello and welcome back. This will be our final episode of Hot Pursuit. In this episode, we're bringing back investigator Strohm and investigator McCulloch from previous episodes. This one's titled The Armed Arsonist. This is going to be your chance to help us out as a fire investigation unit to help solve a crime that's been open for 2 years. Time is of the essence. This is Hot Pursuit.
Stories from the fire investigations front line.
This was a type of unpredictable weather event the Orange County Fire Authority had trained for.
Firefighters responded to the 2200 block of South Susan Street with a report of a commercial structure fire.
Fire investigators are still working on their full report about the cause of the fire.
To find out why those fires started and how to prevent them, investigators need to pick through the debris and answer important questions like how did the fire start and where?
The suspect was arrested and charged with 4 counts of arson as well as reckless endangerment.
Welcome to Hot Pursuit, the podcast where we dive into the mysteries and investigations of fire-related true crime cases of the Orange County Fire Authority Investigations Division. I'm Sophia Champeau.
And I am OCFA Fire Captain and Fire Investigator Scott Coleman. And together, we'll take you behind the scenes of some of Orange County's most fascinating and often chilling fire investigations. From arson to accidental fires, we'll explore the evidence, the suspects, and the untold stories that emerge from the ashes.
Every episode will bring you a new case, breaking down the events that led to the fire, and talk to the experts, including fire investigators, law enforcement, and forensic specialists, to give you an inside look at how these cases are solved. Just like you, I'll be hearing these stories for the first time. So sit back, relax, and join us as we uncover the hidden truths behind some of Orange County's most intriguing fire investigations.
This is Hot
Pursuit.
Pursuit. Well, here we are.
It's the final episode.
It's
I can't believe we're here.
It's the final episode. We've gotten down to kind of the reason we really want to bring this out. We've had the citizens join us through different events through the fire investigation unit here at Orange County Fire Authority with the intent that maybe they can be a part of this unit and helping us out with this final case.
Absolutely. We can't wait to bring it to you. We've been waiting all season to show the video and hear from our investigators and hopefully hear from you too, because at the end of the day, we're really hoping that you guys can help us solve this and bring this case to fruition.
Very good. I'm going to get right into it because I want to make sure that they have enough time to explain the case so we can get the best possible outcome from our citizens who engage in this. So I'll start. We've brought back Ryan McCulloch, investigator with Orange County Fire Authority, and investigator Strohm, another investigator from Orange County Fire Authority. So Ryan, initially, you were the lead investigator on this case, correct?
That's correct. Can
you just go over it and tell us the facts and what occurred?
Yeah. So in March of 2023, the Orange County Fire Authority, we responded out to a structure fire in the city of Santa Ana. And I was working with investigator Burns that day. So we respond out there. And what we find is it's a large property, about a 2-acre property, that is surrounded by vehicles in various states of disrepair. What it was an auto dismantling company. So they take in old cars, tear it all down to parts, and then sell those parts, both online and in person. So huge lot, but then in the center of the property is a building, and that's the building that caught on fire. So we met with the incident commander. Santa Ana PD was involved. They were on scene with us, and we started our scene examination. So as a lead investigator, I was responsible for doing the physical examination. So we typically start on the outside of the building. So I started at the front of the building, and what we found is that the majority of the damage on the front side was in the attic space, and then the attic space was completely burned through the exterior wall. You could see all the structural members from the outside. And then I started walking around the outside of the building. There were a whole bunch of doors down the Bravo side, the left side of the building, that were forced open by our fire crews, which is very common. Our fire crews have to get hose lines in, extinguish a fire, search for people. So all the doors on the left side of the building broke open.
By our guys.
Which is a totally normal operation. The back side of the building had a self-built like overhang, and where they took apart cars right there. And so transmissions, engines, all sorts of stuff is in back there, along with some heavy equipment like power tools to take cars apart. Down the right side of the building, first off, this is 3:00 in the morning, and of course it's raining. And
we're not expecting anyone to be there.
no,
This would be because it's a business. So
it's a business. It's 3:00 in the morning on a rainy day. So it's obviously dark outside.
yeah.
So as I start going down the right side of the building, here's a car parked, a white 4-door sedan parked with the driver's door open, and the lights are on inside the car. So I'm like, that's kind of weird. Let's just take a look at that for a minute. So I look inside the car, and there's a whole bunch of power tools inside the car. The glove box is open, the dashboard's kind of taken apart, and there's keys sitting there. But it's weird because you're surrounded by a whole bunch of cars that are in various states of disrepair, and here's one car that the dome light's still on, door's open, it's raining, and that kind of popped up a little warning sign for me, like, is there somebody still here somewhere? So we kind of took a tactical pause to reach out to my partner, Investigator Burns, and we made contact with Santa Ana PD and said, hey, can you guys help clear this entire property? Let's just make sure there's not somebody still here. So we kind of took a tactical pause and let them do their thing. They didn't find anybody, so that's when we came back and started continuing with our investigation. What was interesting is right next to that car is another door. And
A door to the building?
A door to the building. And that was the only door on the entire building that was not forced open by our fire department. The locks were unopened. Both the deadbolt and then the lock on the handle door itself were in the open position. There was no signs of any forced entry.
So the door was intact and would just open freely. There was no need to force it open because we can just open it.
Yeah, exactly.
But the locking mechanisms were done already prior to our firefighters' arrival.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was an unsecured door is what it looked like. So I continued and started my interior investigation, went through the main front entrance, and at the front of the building, which is where I saw the majority of fire damage on that from the exterior, was an office space that was burned significantly, very, very badly burned. Most of the materials in there that were combustible had caught on fire. It had reached a flashover. And so I noted that and continued working systematically through the building. What I noticed is that there was racks of stored car parts all throughout this entire building. But what I noticed as I was working through is that the majority of damage was exposure damage, and I had movement and intensity patterns that were showing a fire that came from that front office space.
Can we just go over just so I'm understanding, because I'm hearing this case in this detail for the first time as well, and make sure you understand.
Yeah.
The building, it's office and storage of parts? That's its main intent?
Yes. Yeah.
1 or 2 rooms or?
There were a ton of rooms.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the front office was kind of like where the customers would come in. Hey, I'm looking for a Ford F-150 stereo.
Okay.
And so then they would go back and they had the parts stored all throughout the entire interior and exterior of the property.
So that's the point of service area.
Yes.
That's what you're calling the office?
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
I get it now.
And that door that was unlocked and that vehicle that you said was kind of like looked like it was done in the middle or something, how close was that to the office space?
Well, so there was an exterior fence that kind of blocked access to the back side of the yard area.
Okay.
So that was not really near the front office area.
Okay.
But all of the parts that were stored in, like, there were probably close to 8 different storage rooms throughout that building. But everything was leading me towards the origin of this fire was in that front office area.
Got it.
So I worked systematically. I typically like to go clockwise through the interior of the building. So as I came down the delta side, or that right side of the building, there was a small room just adjacent to the front office. And in that room, there was a little bit of fire damage, but definitely was fire damage of a fire traveling into that room, not originating in that room. I find a metal acetone can just laying on the side over there. I'm like, that's kind of weird. So came back into the office, and I identified that as my area of origin. So that's where we kind of start slowing down and going through very, very systematically through that. We had reached out to Investigator Strohm, and because of that acetone container that I found, I also reached out to Investigator Miller to see if Freedom was available to come out.
Freedom, once again, is our canine that is used to detect the presence of an ignitable liquid. Can I go back to the acetone? Would it be abnormal to find acetone in an auto parts store?
To To me, it seems really random because I think like nail salon for acetone, but I know there are probably
There's more
many
uses than
different
that.
uses
Yeah.
for that. Yeah.
But I'm sure you found other containers of acetone in that parts building somewhere.
Yes.
But you hadn't found it in the area of point of service or where you're going to dwell. It's more in a storage area. And it's probably in some kind of way that's stored compliant with safety regulations.
Should be. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But not in some legit office, though, right?
No.
Okay.
And this is a small little storage room just off the office. And if somebody has an empty can or a full can of acetone, first off, there's no lid on this can, and it's laying on its side upside down like somebody had just tossed it.
Oh, that's-
Suspicious.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah. So we ended up getting Investigator Strohm and Investigator Miller come out, and we have Freedom run through the building. And Freedom ends up alerting on quite a few different items, both in the office and like we just said, this is an auto dismantling. There's going to be other items in there that Freedom's going to alert on. You know, there was a gas can. Freedom alerted on the gas can. But the gas can was outside of the area of origin, back part of the building, but it was an alert. The alert that really piqued my interest when we were running Freedom through specifically the office area is on the ground is a metal sign, and it looks like a metal sign that you'd have like on your desk. And Freedom alerts to this metal sign that was on the desk. Like, I don't know, if I had ignitable liquids on a metal sign on my desk, I probably wouldn't have that metal sign on my desk. I don't want to smell gasoline at my workplace. So that was the one alert that I was like, this is kind of suspicious. So that's essentially what we ended up collecting all the evidence. We submitted it all to the crime lab. We submitted both for trace for ignitable liquids. We submitted a couple of items for DNA and fingerprints also, like the acetone can. We submitted all that stuff for the evidence possibilities that were on them. And feel free to pick up wherever I'm missing.
Well, just for the listeners, remember the way our unit's set up here at Orange County. So myself and Ryan, we're the shift investigators. So we'll just respond from fire to fire to fire. We work a regular firefighter schedule. Bill Strohm and Investigator Miller are our day investigators, where they do we say it's 40-hour, but you work much more than that. And they follow up on these calls, which, okay, we now have an idea that this may be an intentionally set fire or there's some criminal involvement. We've got to go to the next fire. They will pick up and carry on the investigation to its fruition. So at some point, Bill got involved because technically that's your area for day shifts. Is that correct?
Correct.
So we kick it over to him.
Mm-hmm.
What I want to know before we go forward, did Burns have any information to give you, or did you do your scene like, hey, I don't want to know anything, and then did you come back and go, hey, I put this in this office, and the ignitable liquid residue being hit so many places in this office is consistent with my finding? Or did Brad happen to have some other stuff that, like, how did that go?
No, I don't typically like to know any information until I've identified an area of origin. So we did. Investigator Burns did have a witness he interviewed. There actually happened to be a transient who was asleep right at that front door of this business.
Oh, wow.
That was his normal routine. It was a quiet place. He was able to get away from other people, and his normal routine was to sleep in this location, literally on the front doorstep of this business. It was a rainy night, and the front doorstep was covered. So that was kind of his routine. So Investigator Burns did interview that person, and he was actually the person that called 911 to report the fire.
Oh, wow. Good for him.
And he said he did hear some people inside. So he heard noises inside that he didn't know what they were.
Really?
Yes. And then a while later, he noticed smoke coming from the building, and he called 911.
So this might be too early to ask, or you guys might touch on it later, but did you guys have to contact the owners to see, like, was that acetone can, like, theirs? Was it supposed to be there? Like, that kind of thing?
So the owner did end up showing up at the scene, and actually what I ended up doing was once the owner showed up, I wanted to know that car. Is that car that was parked there, is that normally there? Is it? So I walked him over to that car and showed him this car. Hey, tell me about this car. And he's like, yeah, that car should not be there. That car should have none of the tools in the back. All those tools are from the back office, inside the business.
Okay. Was that car had no association with that business?
No, well, it was a car that was on the property in the process of being dismantled.
Okay.
Oh, interesting.
But
okay.
all the stuff that was inside the car should not have been in the car. It was from inside the business.
I think the other thing we should address for the civilians and for you is that it is not uncommon for a transient or something to build a relationship with a local business, and they will take refuge in or around certain areas, and the businesses don't mind. And as a matter of fact, they let them use like exterior outlets to charge their cell phones.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and so it's not uncommon for us to go to, and there will be a homeless person there. It's like, yeah, this is where I usually sleep. And they have a lot of good, they know what's normal and what's not for the activities when the business closed. So they actually provide like a lot of information. So when he calls 911, he probably used a cell phone that somehow he was charging on the front porch.
Yep, exactly.
Oh, wow,
Yeah,
okay.
so it's not uncommon, just so you know, because people make, well, that's weird.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, they probably have a traditional routine like we do when we wake up, have coffee, whatever. Are they reliable when it comes to like jury and court and things like that? Like, do they typically help out with that very much, or is that a challenge?
Let me ask you, because you would be more likely to be on a jury.
Yeah.
If I bring someone who is homeless and they're testifying, what would you think? I guess it would be how they present, right?
Sure, I think that is exactly right. How they present, because not all, I mean, people think of homeless people certain ways sometimes, and some of the time it's not that way, and some of the time it is. So I think that would probably
So it depends. I've never had to come across that. It's usually settled before trial, but so at this point, you've like, hey, I've got it here. It's in this office. The dog is hitting in areas that it's corroborating my findings. Brad has a witness statement from someone who's regularly there that says, yeah, I heard some irregular noise. I saw the fire. I called 911. So we have a pretty quick time from discovery till we arrive. And then it gets kicked over to Investigator Strohm.
Right. Yeah, so I get the phone call early in the morning. I start heading that direction, a little bit of reflex time. When I get there, Brad's already engaged in interviews, and Ryan's working on his, basically trying to identify and working on his area of origin. And I meet with Brad, and we discuss his interviews and some of the other facts about the car and whatnot. And I make contact with my other law enforcement partners at Santa Ana PD. So we get the crime lab out to help with the scene and process the vehicle. So that white Lexus that's of some concern. I know Ryan touched upon it, but it's pretty uncommon to see a bunch of tools in the backseat of somebody's car, with the door open. I believe the lights were still on, even the dome lights to the car was still on. So there was a good feeling that the suspect was probably close by, and that we get this car processed as quick as possible. So I make those notifications, meet with Brad, and we start kind of processing the scene. I also, on my way in, I'm talking to Investigator Miller, kind of what we have going, and I believe we actually had another fire that morning that kicked off shortly afterwards. Not necessarily in the same area, but so our resources were getting pulled a couple different directions that morning. So we kind of take it real quick, get a good plan in place. Sean does a great job with processing some of the evidence with the crime lab and Work in Freedom. Gets those things, gets that ball moving the right direction. I go over the interview with Brad, and he's talking to the owner, and we get provided a video. It showed a good pour as far as ignitable liquids go. I don't want to go get too deep into whether this is acetone or something else, because it's still open case. We definitely do have some good video evidence of this gentleman making a pour in the midst of him pouring the office. It was unique in the way that, and I'm sure the viewers will see it, on the way that this guy was targeting certain parts of this office. Going up into the attic, working on the computers, did identify a security camera in there, made sure he poured over the security camera. There's some unique footage as he's going through, as he's doing his task. He actually takes a minute to reposition his firearm. pulls out a pistol from his waistband. He puts it back into his waistband. It's clearly identified, and we can see a very good ignition sequence.
I recall seeing this video when we were working on the release for the armed arsonist. It is pretty gnarly, and we will link it. You can go to our socials at OC Fire Authority on everything, or OCFA.org, so you guys can see the full video.
A couple questions for Ryan. You were not aware of the video at the time when you had determined your origin.
No, I was not.
So that was a clean forensic scene
Yes.
exam. Perfect. And then, Bill, when you guys pulled this video, were you like, number one, it's really clear video. Like, we usually don't get like 4K quality video.
Correct.
Yeah, I'm like, wow, this is a really good video.
I remember seeing his face. You
Yes.
totally see the gun. I mean, it is like, yeah.
What I'm curious about is, did you get the sense, because I haven't seen it in its totality. I've only seen the part we've sent out to the public prior. Does he have a sense of familiarity? Like you said, he's going to the camera and he's pouring over. Could that have been he just can see the camera, or do you think he knew the play, or what's your takeaway?
My read is he was familiar with the business. There was parts where it seemed like he was kind of clunking around, kind of identifying things, but then there was other parts where he, made access to the attic and walked up a pull down ladder and was able to to make a pour up there.
So he knew about the access. If I were to walk in that business right now, would I show that same kind of familiarity or comfort? Could I just stumble up on that and go, "Oh, hey, I'm going to pull that"?
Yeah, I would think not.
Okay.
Okay. I would. It seemed pretty pointed at times.
Yeah.
Also, there was some rummaging around the desk prior to him making the pour. I believe he was trying to find keys for the vehicle.
Wow.
Yeah.
But without an interview, I would really like to talk to this guy. Without an interview, we can't really kind of needle that down. But that's kind of what it appeared like, that he might have been looking to, for the keys to that vehicle.
Very strategic.
And I think that's why the vehicle still probably is there.
So just for our listeners, we'd really like to interview this guy.
If you recognize his face.
If you know or have anything that can help us get an interview with him, we're actually going to give you a hotline. We have a phone set up in our office just for this case. If you have anything leading to it, we'd appreciate it. Investigator Strohm will personally be taking those phone calls.
Yeah,
Do
I'll
you
read
wanna
the
share
tip.
number?
I'll read the tip line, and then I'll read an anonymous tip line number for you guys, and then we'll read it again at the end. So if you want to call our investigators directly, you can call us at 949-560-0665. If you'd like to remain anonymous, you can submit a tip through Orange County Crime Stoppers, and the phone number is 855-TIP-OCCS. So please send those in. We'd love to hear from you.
Anything else to add on that? Were you surprised at how much of that liquid he was pouring around, or?
Yes, yeah. It was a surprising amount of liquid, and I thought that the amount of liquid that he poured, that he was going to be a burn patient, like we've seen so many other times before, and that was kind of surprising to me.
So that's a big thing too for you, Sophia. When I teach this class, or when we have real life experience, many times the person will end up with some sort of, it may be a minor burn or a major burn, because they don't understand the dynamics of vapors and igniting them.
The inside job, he had, that was one of the things that they said, that he had the burns on his hands and he had gone to the doctor, and
Yeah, and he was supposedly educated in firefighting. But we don't teach you how to burn things.
Yeah.
We just teach you how to put them out. So it makes sense.
Yeah. Man, oh man, that's crazy.
Yeah, it ended up being a very interesting case to follow through. Seeing the video footage is also always great for us to go, oh, okay, the scene examination that we did was valid. I was able to work through all the stuff that we've learned and identify the area of origin, and then work together as a team as far as, he's collecting video, Sean's coming out, and we're running Freedom, and Freedom is extremely helpful for so many different things. And
the business owners didn't recognize him at all, and neither did the transient?
No.
Huh.
No. And, Santa Ana PD was very concerned. Obviously, we have a man lighting fires with a gun, armed. So, we did a full canvass of the area, and, nothing, as of today, nothing No witness to interview or no suspect to interview.
What was the year this occurred?
2023.
So we do have limited time, right? So it is important that if you recognize them, you can go through the anonymous or you can call us directly through the number provided. There is a statute of when this goes out. Forgive me, I don't know the exact time, but we do need to move towards bringing some closure into this case.
100%.
So that was kind of where when we started talking about doing this kind of podcast, hey, we have this great case. We have a really good, you even said a good picture of the guy's face.
Yeah.
Someone has to know who this is.
The way he walks, the way he moves, the way he looks, his mannerisms. And you guys may not be able to divulge into this because, again, this is an active case. They can't talk about everything. But anything from the crime lab that you can share with us or not really at this time?
No, we can't share that.
Yeah,
info
no worries. I
not at this
figured.
time.
Nice push, though. Nice try.
I was just saying.
Yeah,
I was
but it
just
has
saying
been
anything to
processed
help
through
the public.
through the lab. So.
No, totally get it. Awesome.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for bringing this case to us. And like I said, please, Orange County, we would love your help. I know the investigators would love your help. And let's bring some justice to this guy and this
Looking
business
forward to
owner.
the phone calls.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming back in, guys. We appreciate it. Appreciate the work you do and how we work together. I want to close this part out by, I think why Orange County Fire Authority is successful and has very good outcomes with this investigation unit is because we do split it up like this. I'm allowed to keep going from fire to fire, and then I'm able to pass on the more in-depth investigation of the continuance of a call to the day guys that they come in on Monday and they're like, all right, I got these 5 things to follow up on, and the rest of the week we keep piling. But otherwise, I don't think it would work as well. If you're just a single investigator and you do an origin and cause and then following up, as he said, as they were coming into this one, another fire broke out. So even though we're well-resourced, we do cover almost 2 million citizens in Orange County. And so sometimes it does get hectic, but because we work together and we've set it up this way, we do enjoy a lot of success. So I'm just really proud of this section.
Absolutely. You guys do incredible work. Thank you guys again for being
you.
on.
Yeah, thanks for coming back, guys. Thank you.
I'll read the tip information one more time for you guys. If you would like to call the investigators line directly, it is 949-560-0665. If you'd like to remain anonymous, you can submit your tip through Orange County Crime Stoppers, 855 TIP-OCCS. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you.